What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Make It Kustom. I'm still out at Half-Ass Customs working on Brent's 3-window coupe, having a great old time, just making metal pieces and fixing warples, you know? Like, there's a lot of warples on this thing. So, yeah, I guess in the last video, I tackled this panel and a little bit of the trunk surround. Brent got the back end of this all done. Like, that's a massive panel with a ton of metal shaping in it. Pretty sweet, pretty sweet. I think you're gonna work on...
I'm gonna work on this.
This piece, other side.
Yeah. I think the one on the side I don't have to look at every time I walk up to the car.
Yeah. Both sides are gonna look the same because they'll be under just a little thin layer of Bondo. It'll be fine. Cool, and then I think today I'm gonna mess around with like these little pieces. You can tell by the damage, like where all these crinkles are, like it's like the whole car body like probably warmed up and got bigger and softer and then kind of shrunk and exhaled, and just everything just seems like a little bit of kinkles and warples everywhere. So we're just hitting up any of the spots that are easier to make a new panel than fix the old stuff, right?
Slowly we'll get it all replaced. We'll keep a couple of little original patches on.
Yeah, I mean, just as a joke, I was thinking maybe I'll just like make a piece for just right here, and then there'll just be this random square that we'll just leave, and nobody will know, but we'll laugh about it, and so will you. I don't know. But yeah, if you don't know about this car, like there's a whole entire build, like start to finish on this, and then the car was in the unfortunate shop fire. And the whole building collapsed on it. So the fact that it's coming back to life, there's very few people that I think would actually take on something this big. Like, this is kind of crazy. But with the support of everybody on YouTube and, you know, Brent's ambition, this thing's going to be wicked.
Fix worse.
I wouldn't even try. So I'll dip in for a few days and just play, and then Brent will finish it off. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit notifications, check out Half-Ass Customs, and let's do some more metal shaping. Simple tools, lots of fun. All right, so game plan is, I think I'd like to start on this panel first. I'm not totally sure what the plan of attack really is here. This is kind of popped up, like this is higher than where the rest of the car is because of this kind of crumple in there. So I think I'll have to relief cut this to push it down enough to get a proper paper pattern laid over top. That's going to show me where my shrinks will be potentially, and what kind of shape we're going to have to put into this piece to get it to flow with the car the way we want it. So not sure if I will replace all the way up to the new metal. I just might as well. There's like some, well, this is all kind of cut up, and there's already this crease right here that I don't know if that's like really weak because it's like a sharp crease. Maybe that was crumpled down and came up at one point, so I don't know. I think I'm gonna get the paper, let the paper tell me what to do, and most likely I'm gonna make this out of one piece and just try and connect the two and see how far we get. Let's grab some paper and start marking this thing out. All right, so when we are paper patterning, the way you put the paper on, it changes the way your shrinks are arranged in the panel. There's a couple different ways we can go about this. You could have it so that the top of this panel, like up by the gutter, maybe the paper sits flat there. So if you wanted that, you would start by pulling the paper tight along the gutter. And then your shrinks would end up going a little bit higher up because of the fact that you're pulling everything away from the gutter. This doesn't have any shape right now because it's pulled tight. That's acting as if the sheet metal was flat here, and then all your shrinks are shrinking to get it to come down. Now, the other way to do that, the other way to put this on, is to share the shape around a little bit, where you take say the highest point, so I'm talking about the top of the curve of this panel, so the continuation of this all the way down, you take the top of that, you put your magnets there, and then now you do have a little bit of material that you can collect on the sides, and now you'll have smaller shrinks, but on each side, right? So the paper will not always just go how you want it. You have to think about how the metal is going to be shrunk or stretched. Like, how are you going to shape this metal? Are you going to shape it all from one side? Or are you going to shape it all the way around? Are you going to block the center and then just do little shrinks on the side? And for me personally, that's usually what I tend to go towards, because I think it's one of the most efficient ways of getting there. If you do a bit of stretching with a hammer, like a doming hammer, the mother tucker in a sandbag, that's what I always end up using, and it dings it, and each ding is creating a little bit of stretch in that spot, therefore adding surface area to the panel. So we do that in the center, and then you shrink a little bit on the outside. You could shrink all the way in and not do any stretching, but I find that I always end up doing a little bit with the hand hammer and then smoothing it out. Because when you get close and you've got that little spot, you can just kind of like use the sandbag and block it a little bit and then smooth it out again. And that just sort of raises it up. So what I'm gonna do is trim this a little bit closer to the size that it needs to be. And that way we don't have to wrinkle all the way on the outsides. So we'll get near the size we need it to be. I'll probably put the magnets all in the center, pull away from these center magnets. Like if I pull straight away from that magnet and straight away from that magnet, then I'll be able to collect that material in between, right? If I don't pull straight away, I could be collecting all the material at one end, and we don't want to do that either. So watch carefully in the time lapse. I'll kind of frame it directly on this, and you'll see what I'm doing and how I'm laying out those shrinks. Okay, so I just kind of caved this all down here, just cut it all up just to allow our paper to sit a little better. So what I'm going to show you, I covered this a little bit in the last video also. Very important though. You wanna pull straight away, put a magnet, pull straight away. You're gonna put another one here so that I can pull straight away. You see how this happens? Watch. I pull straight away. Now we have that material. That's gonna give us like if we do that for all these, we're gonna have an accurate idea of how much shrink there needs to be. And by doing so, we make this little wrinkle. And where that wrinkle stops, they're a little bit difficult to fold over, but what that's gonna tell me, where this wrinkle stops, I can make a mark. That's how deep we're gonna go in with our tuck. And you can make that tuck with the tucking hammer and a stump. You can make the tuck with a tucking fork. You can make the tuck with the shrinking dies in a hammer, like a power hammer. But that information that we're looking for is just how deep do we go? If we go too deep, we've ruined it, we've overshrunk. So we need to know the depth. That is it. So I'm gonna do the whole rest of this panel that way, but it's important to just pull away from your center, put your magnet, pull away from your center, put your magnet, and now you have an accurate amount of fold to give you that measurement. All right, so this is mostly just so that we know the depth. I marked where my wrinkles were. That's a good place to start as far as, you know, spreading out the tucks. There will be more tucks than just what we put in here with our marks, but like I said, it's the depth that I want to know. This center area is so little of shape that it did not wrinkle into it, so this center area is where I would use the sandbag and just a hammer to block it out. And then we're smoothing in either the English wheel or we're smoothing in a planishing hammer. You know, like that's, if you had only hand tools, you could do this with a sandbag. You could do this only with a sandbag, really, and a hammer, but I would use a tucking stump and a sandbag, and you would get this roughed out. Then I would smash this flat, like on a flat surface, and just hammer planishing from the backside, and you could, like with simple tools, that's all you would need to make this panel. So we're gonna do it today with probably the power hammer. We're trying to get this panel and as far as we can on the car, so we'll probably power hammer these tucks in, block it out on the sandbag by hand with the Mother Tucker hammer on the little bit fatter end, and then yeah, I'll smooth it out. All right. Any questions, put them in the comments, but I'm gonna keep going, transfer this to a piece of sheet metal, and start making some noise. Okay, so right now what I'm doing is I did the spots that we said to do, but when you're shrinking, there's always more shrink towards the edge than there is towards the center. It's the opposite with stretching. So what's happening is that this, I guess this machine's totally walking. Getting closer to me. We shrink in this far, we'll have to shrink in a couple more times a little closer to the edge and a couple more times right at the edge. And that's called stack shrinking. So basically, when you make those wrinkles, think about it like those wrinkles are a bit of a triangle. So that shows that there's more shrinking near the edge. This die doesn't understand triangles. It shrinks the same amount the entire travel. So therefore you have to have a little bit more in a bit of a triangle shape in the sheet metal. Hopefully that makes sense. And to keep going and just control this little wave or this skirting that's happening. The metal literally is telling me that there's too much metal at the edge because it's now got that wave. So I'm just shrinking those waves down. Back.
It's kind of staying there.
I mean, it's nudged up against this thing now. Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
All right, hold on.
I mean, even there, it's probably fine.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Yeah.
Good enough.
All right. Okay, so right now this still has the duct tape on it, and we're gonna let that be. We're not actually trying to add shape. I'm just trying to use it to planish, so that duct tape should be fine on there. If you're doing like a really nice job planishing, you wouldn't leave that on there. I'm just trying to smooth it out enough to bring it to the English, or not, sorry, not the English wheel, the planishing hammer. Oh man, this is a bummer, but check this out.
Ooh.
It worked for so good for so long.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You build a machine out of what you got, and you can fix it with what you got. We don't have to go wait for somebody to have a special part for this machine. We'll just be able to fix that. Those are cheap bearings. Just bolt another set on. This thing's done tons of work on its life.
Bearings are good. Just need a new.
Oh, it's just the connecting rod.
That's all that broke. This is like because it swivels.
Oh, it's just a weld.
There's a lot of stress on it because I don't have a double pillow on there.
Yeah.
So I mean, kind of inevitable. I mean, it lasted pretty good.
I think I got a little bit carried away with how much that machine shrinks.
Alexa, tire machine light on.
Nah, it'll be fine. I'm just joking. I'm gonna go to the the planishing hammer and give this thing a nice wash. See where we're at. When you're planishing, it's okay to put this out of arrangement so that you can get a flatter die in there. Some areas of that panel are as tight as a 3 or 4. So I've got a number 8 in here right now. I'm just gonna smooth the whole thing out and then we'll just pop it back into shape. All right, so this is the part where we're putting this panel back into arrangement. So I do have to choose the right radius die. The car in that kind of highlight line, the sharpest part of the curve coming down the side, is a number 3. So I've chosen a number 3 lower radius anvil for the English wheel. It still has the duct tape on it. And so that is gonna help us just kind of roll the radius into the right spot. We're not shaping anything. We are only actually forming. This is the same as bending it over your knee, right? It's just my knee isn't that sharp. Okay, let's roll her out. Okay, so this never happens. I got super lucky today. This is actually the first time checking it on the car, and it's pretty close. Like I'm sure I'll find some fine tunage, like if we were actually mounting it right now, but like, man, come check it out. Just for a second, I'm gonna toot my own horn. This planishing hammer on this solid of a frame is a game changer for washing things out. When I washed that panel out, and I swear that it came out so good because it didn't fight any deflection. It was just like it's just transferring the polish of the dies and relaxing everything. You saw how much tension was on this panel, how it was very ripply. I was just kind of working around it, especially in these areas, to kind of relax and at the same time transition the stretch that we had done in here to the shrink here. So I'm just running it all over. I did hit every square inch of this with the contact patch of that hammer. So it's about a 1/4 inch contact patch, I would say, on that number 8. So I just ran over it, overlapping the contacts, and yeah, stoked with it. So I think that maybe, well, I don't know. I'm gonna look closely at it. It might be a little bit overdeveloped right there, actually, because it feels like it's gonna have a little bit of a low, but I'll tune it up a little bit. But this is, I mean, I'm just stoked with the first checkup. It's all good till for sure here. This spot, I think we might have to just release a little bit. Maybe it's this extra shrink in there. I kind of guessed a couple of the shrinks, if you remember, in that spot because it was hard to get them with my fingers. So maybe I did too much, and we just have to bring this down a little bit. Okay, I was actually fiddling around with it, and I clamped it all down, and it is touching hard to the panel underneath it, so that's good. This, I think, is just a little bit, could use a tiny shrink there, but it's really nothing. Like, there's hardly anything there. So I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna make a couple of these guys and figure this out. It looks like it kind of bowed a bit, so I'm gonna probably have to cut some of this back and make it a little straighter, because this sort of ended up doing that too much. So I guess we'll just cut a bunch of that away and start making a panel. All right, so Bam Bam has left the building. The connecting rod does not like its life anymore, but we applaud it for its, its service. So we appreciate it. And all we're gonna do is replace that connecting rod with a chunk of plate.
Gonna try that.
Yeah, no big deal. It'll be stronger than that, and we'll be back on the road.
They already fixed it once.
Yeah.
Then my fix was good. Everything else was.
Yeah, the fix was good, but the bottom looks like it was just having a wonderful time.
Well,
yeah.
It's done a lot of hits in its short life here.
It has. I'm so impressed. Like, obviously, if you're not buying a $50,000 Planishing or hammer, you might have to repair it every once in a while. No big deal. So we're gonna try and find a couple pieces of tube or something. Maybe make something so that on each side we can bolt a piece of tube and then connect with the plate, and then we will be bam-bamming again. So we found some stuff. Found one of these by the bolt bin. We found one of these in a bucket. This one's already the right size. It's 1 inch. It'll slip right on there and replace and be beefier than that. So we are upgrading. And then this one is totally the exact same size, and I want to use it and just drill it out. So we are going to the lathe, and we are going to do some turning and drilling. We'll find a big honking drill bit somewhere, and we'll get bamming again. Okay, the other thing that actually has to be done is that this has to be the same width as this collar. So I'm going to just chuck it up in here, bring a cutter, and just take off enough till we are the same size. Okay, so I've got this kind of like beat into shape a little bit. The reason I did spend some time here getting that into shape and pushing this roof back in is because that would have all been in my way to keep checking whether or not my panel fits. Like, this is a relatively simple piece, but if that's in the way, I'll never be able to get it to what I want it to be, or I won't be able to know if I'm actually there. So I spent just like 10 minutes kind of bumping it around with a hammer and dolly and just kind of roughly getting it back. Now it's feeling pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and take some paper, make a little template, same as always, like paper template. We're gonna cut it close to the size. We're gonna see about any shrinks. There's not gonna be any on this, I'll tell you that right now. This is so flat that it's not going to show anything. So it'll be just a tiny bit of crown. We can use the planishing hammer, we can use the English wheel, just to give it a little bit of crown, and it's gonna curve in its form a little bit as it transitions into the catwalk panel. So I'm just kind of marking the top of that radius here and kind of how it transitions out. That's just to let me know that this sharp body line is turning into that number 3 radius that we have over here. So I'm just gonna go cut that piece out. I'll probably run it in the planishing hammer just to give it a bit of that low crown I was talking about, and then we're just gonna form it and bend it over into that little piece. I had a thunk and I changed my mind. I'm gonna add a little bit to this piece so that we get this crease in here as well. So I'm just gonna add it with tape and tip that a little bit, just because it's not my favorite thing to let somebody weld right in the ditch of a corner, you know. And when Brent does the rest of this catwalk, he's gonna make a piece that does this to make this new belt line, I suppose. So this piece, if it had that new belt line up to here, it would save him a ton of work and unnecessary cuts, basically. All right, so got my pieces cut. I cut two, there's two sides, obviously. I was contemplating making a profile die for this and using the hammer. Totally might probably be worth it to make. But I think what I'm gonna do instead is just use sort of simple tools and try and roll this over like a T-dolly situation and then maybe tip this back up with the bead roller. And if I'm not totally happy with the results, I could always make the profile die anyway and run it through. But because it tapers out and stuff, like I don't think it's necessary to make the profile die because I'd only actually be able to use it halfway. All right, got a little needle gauge here. These are great for checking profiles, kind of trying to find your dolly and stuff. Here we go. You can also kind of see where things stop. There's the profile there. That's what I need. So I'm actually gonna probably draw that on something so that I have it. And then I'll be able to knock this piece into this shape just using hammer and dolly. All right, found a couple of chunks of metal. We're gonna make ourselves a little T-dolly out of this. This looks to be about 1 inch and it fits in kind of our smallest spot there. So we're gonna use this. I'm just gonna weld it to a chunk and hammer with it. All right, just gave it a bit on the planishing hammer just to stretch it a little bit. Stretched it a little extra in this area because it curves over this way. Now I'm gonna go to that T-dolly that we made and start tapping it around. Got it set up in the vise right here. I'll make sure to bring our little gauge, make sure that we're checking the gauge all the time. Smack this into place. So I'm gonna be kind of using the slapper, just because it covers more surface area at once. I'm gonna line up this dolly right in the center of our dotted line. This panel may have looked a lot curved this way, but as soon as we start putting this bend in it, it's gonna flatten right out. This line is our tipped edge, right? So all of our radius needs to be on this dotted line. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, still gotta curve this over more, get more radius happening in here, and tip this part up a bit. You see that? See how it's not fitting exact? So a little more tipping, a little more radius in here. Okay, so we got this curve kind of fitting better back here, but these pieces are having a hard time coming up. Now why? Why are they having a hard time coming up? It looks to me like it needs to be stretched a little bit in this area so that that can come up. So kicking the stretches, go in here, we can actually stretch a little and pull up a little. At the same time, you'll actually feel it in your foot, relieving the pressure. Just pulling up a little bit, yep. See, now we've brought that up. Good. Much closer. I'm just gonna tap that all nice again on the edge, and then we'll check it. All right. Pretty stoked with that. A little bit of messing around to get that to flow nicely. There's a bit more work we could do. I see a little bit of stuff in here, like we could come in and you play with the light, you can see all the little spots that could use a little more attention, but she's so close. I am stoked. All right, so another great day here at Half-Assed Customs, hanging out with Brent, getting work done on his coupe. This panel is fitting great, stoked with it. Could probably mess with it a little bit more, but you know, I'm gonna be a little lazy and stop right there. we got dinner to go to and a bunch of people coming by tonight, hang out at the shop, so we're gonna just chill out.
I'm trying to catch up. I still got one panel to do to catch up.
Yay, man, you just made 2 panels today. You made 2 panels today. Well, you finished this one off.
Yeah.
Right? And you made this whole panel.
Yeah. Needs a little bit of work yet, but
man, I mean,
that's
killer.
first shot.
Yeah. Well done. Look at this thing. It is it's coming right along. I'm super stoked with the thrash so far, like how far we've got and how fun it's been and the tools and everything, like having a good time. So with that said, thank you all for watching. Check out Half-Assed Customs and we'll catch you on the next one. See you later.